colorblind, that green might be a problem. All right, so we're going to learn how to measure spread. What's the only way you guys know so far how to measure spread? Range. That's right. You guys know range, which it says, what is the range as the first question? I didn't really answer that on here because I think you guys know what the range is, but you should probably write it down just so you have it in your notes. So what is the range, you guys? Yeah, your maximum observation minus your minimum, or the highest minus the lowest, however you want to write it down, and remember how to find the range. Okay, we talked about yesterday the mean and the median, and what was a resistant measure of spread, right? So is the median resistant or is the mean resistant? Median, good. So is the range resistant to outliers? No, it's definitely going to make a difference. If you add a really high number in there, that is going to change your range pretty drastically, right? So the measure of center alone can be misleading. We want to talk also about the measure of spread when we're describing a distribution. So we're actually going to skip to the back side where it asks about the 5-number summary. I'm going to start with that. So if you turn it over near the bottom, it says, what is the 5-number summary and how is it displayed? So we're going to do the 5-number summary with this data here from you guys. So this is how many text messages you guys sent in the past 24 hours on the first day of school. You guys answered that question for me. So first of all, anyone know the 5-number summary? What goes in the 5-number summary? You guys probably kind of remember. Cece?
The minimum, the first quartile, the median, third quartile, and the top.
That's right. Okay. So you guys did Box and Whisker? Yeah, that was in Algebra 1. All right. So we've got the min, quartile 1, the median, also known as Q2, quartile 3, and the max. So that's a 5-number summary, which is pretty easy. And we display it with a Box and Whisker plot. So it says, how is it displayed? Box and Whisker plot. Okay, so in order to find all this information, what do I need to do with my data first? Yeah, we definitely need to put it in order. So let's go ahead and put this in order. We've got 0. You guys can help me out if I miss one. 0. What's next? We got 2 7s. What's next? 10. And then 12. Okay. Thanks. 20. 25. Good, I almost missed that one. 40, 50, right? Okay, 75. I'm gonna run out of room on this one line. Oh, we got 2 100s, a 184. I got too fast there. Wait, we got 3 100s. First of all, I need to cross off as I go. 3 100s. Okay. Okay, thanks. 150. Okay, now we got a 184. Thank you. Oh yeah, 3 of those. And someone who sent 1,000. Amazing work right there. That's impressive. I'm going to try to put that right here. 0 is kind of impressive too. So let's start with our min and our max, because those are going to be the easiest, right? What is our min? Good. What is our max? 1,000. Okay. The next one you want to find is the median. All right, that's got to go before Q1 and Q3. So how many data points do we have here? 20. Okay. So if we split these in half, how much on each side? 10 on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we actually want to do the middle of these two numbers. So if there's an even number of data, remember we have to do 50 plus 75 divided by 2. What is that, you guys? Okay. So there's our median. All right, and now we want to find the middle of the bottom half of data. So the data split evenly in half. So now I have 10 numbers here. So my middle is in between what two spots? 5 and 6, if I'm talking about the lower half, right? 5 and 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's my 6th spot. So again, we could split it in half. There should be 5 numbers on each side of that red line. So what's Q1 going to be? Right. So Q1 is the lower, it's half the data, the middle number of the lower half of the data. All right, now we have Q3. So I'm going to look at the upper half of my data. There's 10 numbers, right? What spot, if I count all 20 spots, is it going to be in between? Yeah, 15 and 16, right? So I have 5 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we have this lovely, we're going to have to add 150 and 184 and divide by 2. What do you guys get? Thanks. So there's our 5-number summary. We don't want to do our box and whisker quite yet, okay? So a new term for you guys, if you don't know this, IQR. Do you guys know IQR? You do now. Interquartile range. Okay, this is important. We want to use IQR. This is actually the 3rd question on your sheet. What is IQR? Q3 minus Q1. All right, so if I was going to find the IQR of this data, we would do Q3, which is 167, minus Q1, which is 11. So 167 minus 11 gives me 156. Okay, IQR. So it's important to note, you guys, quartile, what does that make you think of when you think quartiles? Yeah, quarters. So actually, 25% of the data falls between the min and Q1. Another 25% of the data falls between Q1 and the median. Another 25% between the median and Q3, and another 25% between Q3 and the max. Sometimes there are multiple choice questions on that, on percents of the data. So what percent of the data is between Q3 and Q1? 50% of the data, right? It's that middle part. Okay. Another question that they ask is the IQR a resistant measure of spread? What do you guys think? If I add a really high or a really low number, will it change the IQR? Not a whole lot, right? So yes, okay, the IQR is resistant, which means sometimes it's going to be a better measure of spread than the range. All right, so you might want to use IQR if you have some outliers. So do you guys think that we have any outliers in our set of data here? It looks like we might, right? 1,000's a little crazy, all right? Someone's a little intense with their texting. So let's check it out. How we do an outlier. This is the official way, and we want to memorize this, okay? So anything below Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. Okay? Anything below that will be a lower outlier. Anything above, and this is, sorry you guys, kind of went out of order. Where is this one on here? Identifying outliers. Okay, it's on the back. Okay, and anything above Q3 plus 1.5 times IQR is an outlier. So we're going to go ahead and calculate this for our cell phone text messages data. So Q1, what did we get for Q1? We got 11, okay? So 11, and we're going to subtract 1.5 times the interquartile range, okay, which is 156. Can anyone tell me what that number is? Definitely going to be negative. Yeah. Negative 223. I don't know how you send negative text messages, so that is not possible. We do not have any lower bound outliers, okay? Let's try the other one. What do we get for Q3? We get 167. Okay. Plus 1.5 times 156. So somebody tell me what our upper bound outlier is. Kyle. Okay. 401 text messages. Anything above that is considered an outlier. So do we have an outlier on our data? Yeah. 1,000 is an outlier. It looked like it was, right? So before we just said there appears to be an outlier. Now you can actually check if there's an outlier using that formula. So again, this is something you want to memorize. Yeah, Ginger.
Would it be an outlier if it were exactly like 401?
No. Yeah, it has to be above it. Yep. All right, what if I have this? Actually, let's go ahead and do a box and whisker. We should do that because we didn't do that yet. We need to draw our box and whisker. So now that we know we have an outlier, we can actually draw our box and whisker. So let's do number line. We need to go from our min to our max. So from 0 to 1,000. So maybe go by 100s. So we have 0, 100, 200, 300. All right, so the box is made up of Q1, Q2, and Q3. Then you have to go to your min and your max. Now, we have an outlier on this one. So our actual max is not going to be 1,000. We're going to put an asterisk for our outlier, and our max is only going to go to 200. Okay, so Q1 is 11. So we're going to put a line for Q1 about where 11 would be. Median 62.5. Okay, that's about here, a little past 50. Q3 is 167. Okay. Our min goes down to 0. And our max, we're going to go up to 200. And then we have this lovely outlier. Who sent 1,000 text messages? That's awesome. I'm like super impressed. No one is getting it. All right. Just labeling those for you guys. Okay, so let's see. What if we have, so I just did an even number of data. We only had 20 numbers on this one. So this one we actually have, this is 15 numbers. Okay, this is important to know how to do, you guys. And it is a little bit different, and you may have forgotten. So if you have 15 numbers, there is a middle number. So the median's pretty easy to find, right? What spot, anybody know, would the median be in? The 8th spot, because there's 7 on each side, okay? So 15, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then make sure you've got 7 numbers on each side. So this is our median, or Q2. Now if I look over here at these numbers, do I include the 20 or do I not include the 20 when I find the middle number of the lower half of the data, you guys? That's the trick. You don't include it. You want to think about crossing the median out. It's still a median. But now the lower half of the data is these 7 numbers right here. So which one's my middle number? Good. So Q1 is the middle number of the bottom half of the data when you take the median out. Okay, so you always take the median out when you've got an odd set of data. Over here, what's the middle number of the upper half? 30, so that's Q3. All right, so that's just a heads up on how you do it if you have odd number of data.